So the problem with animal captivity is that people aren't considerate about the lives of wild animals. This basically means like people aren't very considerate, as in like they don't really care, since it's animals we're talking about. It just, many people don't see it as important simply because it's about animals and not like humans. And the next problem would be that animal captivity has a negative effect on the lives of wild animals. By negative effects, I mean not just physically but also mentally. For example, like for the mental effects, it would be stress or like depression, and this is caused by being in like cages most of the time and just not having any space to move around and just being stuck in the same spot for days or even years, basically most of their lives. And a physical effect, an example of a physical effect, would be this picture, which is in this picture these trainers are like, they put ropes around the legs of this baby elephant and they're spreading the legs and they're making the elephant do unnatural tricks and like postures, and this can really affect the baby elephant physically because it can cause an injury because it's so unnatural. Like elephants aren't supposed to be doing these types of things, so doing tricks like this can really cause an animal to get injured. And then lastly, society doesn't pay attention to animal captivity, and this connects to the first one because if people aren't really interested or don't really care about the lives of wild animals, then they just won't pay attention to the topic of animal captivity. And yeah, I did my research by using Brookhaven Library, Google Books, and Advocate websites. I used these three because I knew they were trustworthy. Like Brookhaven Library is trustworthy because it's coming from a library, so I know that the information given is true. And the same thing goes for Google Books. Many people edit and like revise these books before they're finally published, so I know that after all of the editing and like revising, that I know that this information that I got from my books is like true, and it makes it trustworthy to use. And lastly, advocate websites are also trustworthy because these people who use these websites or who made the websites, this is their career. They know a lot about the topic and they're very specialized in the topic, so they know what they're saying, and like the information given is trustworthy because it's what they do for a living. And then lastly, my solutions would be spreading the word, donating to advocate websites, and teaching about animal captivity in school. So the first one and the last one are pretty similar, but by spreading the word, I mean just telling people, even your family or just your community, about what really goes on behind like SeaWorld or like circuses and the zoos, and like the perspectives of the animals, of like their daily lives and what their life really is like, and not what SeaWorld shows or like what the circuses show. This can really open the eyes for students and just people that you spread the word around to, because it can make them change their minds about these places, and it can cause people to boycott and like no longer go to these places, which can later on lead to an end to captivity because people will lose interest in these places. And then lastly, donating to advocate websites is very important because these websites, or many of them, they need the money to build sanctuaries, and even helping with $1 can really make the difference. And these animals really need new places and environments that are natural, and sanctuaries are like the perfect example of a natural and realistic environment which animals can be in. So like this picture is a sanctuary in Iceland, which is for whales and like other sea animals, and it cost a lot of money, but with the help of many people donating, they were able to buy the land and like just build the sanctuary. And soon many of the sea animals in the sanctuary are going to be able to be released into the wild because of the natural environment that they're in. And it's kind of like an idea of what the wildlife will be. So once they actually go into the wildlife, it won't be as hard for them. It won't be as hard for them to like fend for themselves. And yeah, this was my presentation over animal captivity.